Thank you, Betty Jean. As indicated, my name is Darlene McNeil, and I am a two-time liver transplant recipient. It's one of my most important titles. Betty Jean, you are an amazing person in your own right, and I appreciate those lovely words of introduction. I'd like to thank each and every one of you who have chosen to be a part of this information session. Now I have to caution, and sometimes I start off right off the bat, and Betty Jean has done this very nicely for me, that I may express some emotion, and I always have Kleenex at the ready. So there you go. I am a volunteer at the Grand River Council on Aging, and I am happy to be here. I will spend approximately 15 minutes sharing what I know about organ transplant and donation from a very personal perspective. I'll start off with the following statement. Organ donation and transplantation works. How do I know these words to be true? As Betty Jean stated, I am the recipient of 2 liver transplants. I now have had the opportunity to get to know 3 different livers. You would think that 3 livers would be the exciting part of that statement. And it is, but I'm also excited about the word opportunity and continuation. It best reflects what I have been given. An opportunity for my life to continue. It's a special club. The initiation is very difficult, but rewards are life-affirming. I would at this time like to introduce Lynn. Give us a wave, Lynn. Lynn is also a liver recipient, and we have gotten to know one another recently, and she joins us on our workshops. It's nice to see a club member. I'm going to use the next 15 minutes to share with you what I know about organ donation and transplant. I'm not a medical expert, but I am the face of a reality that exists here in Brantford and beyond. I will do what I can to increase your knowledge about organ donation, and hopefully you will share this newfound knowledge with your family and friends. My intent today is to rectify some misinformation about organ donation and provide you with minimal statistics. I always keep in mind that each and every number is an individual or a family that has come to a crossroad. A decision is to be made either to donate their loved one's organs or not. One of these decisions results in the continuation of a life for a mother, a father, a baby, a brother, a sister who has been experiencing a health crisis that will only be helped by an organ transplant, and the other does not. A conversation between a medical team and a family member asking them to consider organ donation by their loved one at this time of crisis is the most difficult and does not need to happen at that particular time. A very wise woman said to me once, and she's with us today, you don't know what you don't know until you know. And then you need to know where to go. So I trust at the end of my talk, you will know enough about organ donation to follow through. I'm going to drop some organ donation myths and truths on you as we go along, interspersed with some fun facts about myself. At this point, I must say that I truly wish each and every one of you and your family and friends a long and very healthy life. So here's myth number 1. I will never need an organ transplant. Actually, statistics show that you are more likely to need an organ transplant to be in a position to donate an organ. Myth number 2, no problem. I have it in my will. No, it's too late then. Organs are not viable that long. You must register your wish at beadonor.ca. Myth number 3, I'm too old to donate. Nobody would want my organs. Well, the fact is there's no defined cutoff age for donating organs. The decision to use your organs is based on strict medical criteria, such as blood type, body size, tissue type. Don't disqualify yourself. Let the doctors decide at the time of your passing whether your organs and tissues are suitable for transplantation. Race, gender, income, celebrity, and social status are not a part of the decision making. So here's a fun fact about myself. I was born in Thunder Bay when it was Port Arthur and Fort William. I am from the Port Arthur side. We always thought that was best. Growing up there, I was an avid skier, a dancer, and a figure skater. Now I'm an avid pickleball player and a golfer. When I got my license at 16, there were two options to check off. One for organs and one for eyes only. I checked eyes only. I could not imagine, as a healthy, living, breathing 16-year-old, that I would want my organs donated. Thank goodness karma is not always right. Here's myth number 4. Organ donation is against my religion. The fact is, organ donation is consistent with the beliefs of most major religions. If you're unsure or uncomfortable with your faith's position on organ donation, speak with a member of your clergy. Myth number 5. If I agree to donate my organs, the hospital staff won't work as hard to save my life. Well, when you go into the hospital for treatment and care, doctors focus on saving your life, not somebody else's. You'll be seen by a doctor whose expertise most closely matches your particular condition and who can give you the best care possible. Again, about me, I remember the ripe age of 18 when I ventured from Port Arthur to London, Ontario, to start my life as an executive secretary, believing I had the rest of my life to pursue and be healthy. I got my job and lived in London for 5 years. During that time, I met my husband, Mike, on May 24 long weekend, camping at the Pinery. In August of that year, we were engaged, and the following year, we were married. It was a case of when you know, you know. And next year, we celebrate our 50th wedding anniversary. Break for Kleenex. He is my hero. I challenged that vow of in sickness or health. Okay, deep breath. And he stood strong beside me all the way. Okay, myth number 6. Children under 18 cannot make the decision to be an organ donor. The final decision will remain the responsibility of parents or legal guardians. Have that discussion with your children or your grandchildren at an appropriate age about organ donation. Keep in mind that children, too, are in need of organ transplants, and they usually need organs smaller than those an adult can provide. Okay, it's about me again. I'm now 71 years of age. I know I don't look my age, but that's what happens when you keep replacing parts. That's a little transplant humor. Maybe you had to be there, right, Lynn? At the age of 45, I was a very healthy young woman. Linda saw me teaching the fitness at the Y every night. I walked through Victoria Park from the Ontario Court of Justice, where I worked, had a run, played some racquetball, and taught my fitness class. Yes, I was very active. Suddenly, I had symptoms of liver disease. After a few tests, I was advised that my liver was being destroyed by my immune system. The bile duct was scarring and closing, and I would ultimately need a liver transplant. Certainly a life-jarring moment. I went directly from the doctor's office to the library and looked up organ transplants. This was before Google. For someone who likes to be in control, the idea of having to depend on a decision of organ donation from a stranger was extremely difficult to comprehend. But I went down that rabbit hole and learned all I could about the process. I had a lot of questions. I received my first liver transplant on March 25th, 1995. This was approximately a year later after diagnosis, but only 3 months of actually being on the transplant list. For 8 years, I continued on, but I got progressively sick once again, as the same immune system was destroying this liver, and once again, I was told I would need another liver transplant. I did not need to do the research this time. I knew the routine. So in November of 2001, I was placed on the transplant list once again. I did go into a coma, and Mike called the ambulance, who arrived to take me to the Brantford General Hospital. All the right people at the right time made the decision to transfer me to the London Health Sciences. On that trip, I coded, but I survived that trip, obviously, and continued on my journey to a second transplant. On June 2nd, 2002, I received my second liver transplant. Now, a lot went on that I've left out, but the end result is the message. This second transplant cured my issue. With the continuation of anti-rejection drugs, this liver is doing just fine. I do not know my donors, as the law does not provide for access to identity unless both parties agree through a third party. I do know for a fact that each family would have gone through a terrible event and difficult decision-making. But they became heroes to me because of their decision to donate their loved ones' organs. Okay, back to the myths. I can get through these. Myth number 7, an open casket funeral isn't an option for people who have donated organs or tissues. Well, the fact is, organ and tissue donation doesn't interfere with having an open casket funeral. The donor's body is clothed for burial and treated with care and respect, so there are no visible signs of organ or tissue donation. Myth number 8, I'm not in the best of health. Nobody would want my organs or tissues. Well, very few medical conditions automatically disqualify you from donating organs. The decision to use an organ is based on strict medical criteria. It may turn out that certain organs are not suitable for transplantation, but other organs and tissues may be just fine. Don't disqualify yourself. Only medical professionals at the time of your passing can determine whether your organs are suitable for transplantation. Here's another fun fact on my journey. It was a Friday the 13th when I received my first transplant call to come to London Health Sciences, as there was a donor liver available. It truly was Friday the 13th, because halfway there we received another call to advise us that the liver was not viable for transplant and we could return home. This does happen, and we warned it could. Also on the way home, we hit a wild animal. I did question why we had to experience every possible event. This was not the only false alarm. We were called in once again, and I say we because, of course, Michael was always by my side. And we were told that a donation was available again. However, it was for another person. That person was very ill, and the possibility of transplant may not be an option for them. My husband and I waited 13 hours as they determined the course of action. No sleep, no eating, just sitting there waiting. We waited knowing that if I received the transplant, then the person first identified had passed away. If I was sent home, then I was to wait once again However, another person had received that transplant. Number 13, the hours we waited was unlucky for me. I was never a superstitious person, but I've changed. March 25th, 2022, I celebrated my 27th anniversary of my first transplant. But then on June 2nd, 2022, I celebrated my 20th anniversary of my second transplant without any further health issues. Now, as I get older and my memory starts to go, I'm definitely going to have to write all these dates down. But here's the reality of those statements. In 1994, I was diagnosed with a liver disease and told only a transplant would save my life. In fact, I have celebrated the continuation of my life for 27 years. Only, and I mean only, because there were two families agreeing to organ donation. Now, I put down here break for Kleenex, but I think that's happened a couple of times already. Here's myth number 9. I'd like to donate one of my kidneys now, but I wouldn't be allowed to do that unless one of my family members is in need. Well, that used to be the case, but it isn't any longer. Whether it's a distant family member, friend, or a complete stranger you want to help, you can donate a kidney through certain transplant centers. If you decide to become a living donor, you will undergo extensive questioning to ensure that you're aware of all the risks and that your decision to donate isn't based on financial gain. You will also undergo testing to determine if your kidneys are in good shape and whether you can live a healthy life with just one kidney. Another medical advancement over the years is the option to donate a portion of your liver while you are alive. The liver regenerates and the transplanted portion will grow to accommodate the recipient. A parent can donate to their child. During my first go-round at London Health Sciences, I was given the opportunity to meet two gentlemen who were very good friends. One donated a portion of his liver to his friend, and they were both doing well at that time. So here's myth number 10, the last one that I have. I signed my donor card and it's in my wallet at all times. Well, this is no longer a valid indication. However, you can use it as an option to start a conversation with your family and friends. You now must opt in to be an organ donor. Sign in to www.beadonor.ca. Some countries have passed legislation that automatically makes you an organ donor, and you must take steps to opt out. Nova Scotia is the first province to pass legislation of presumed consent. We in Ontario are not there yet. When renewing your license, you will be asked if you wish to be an organ donor, and the clerk at Service Ontario will register your name or assist you in doing it. If and when you have made the decision to be an organ donor, please ensure you have that conversation with your next of kin or power of attorney for your health, so there is no confusion as to your wishes. So those are some of the main myths, and hopefully I've cleared those up with some facts for you. You can see that being an organ donor can make a big difference to a donor family as well as the recipient and to this person before you. I have spoken with many donor families, and they have all conveyed the message to me that knowing their loved one helped save or improve other lives helped them cope with the loss. Betty Jean has seen this in her practice. One example is the Logan Boulay young fellow who died in a bus crash 4 years ago while traveling with his team, the Humboldt Broncos. 5 weeks before the crash, on his 21st birthday, he registered to be an organ donor. He let his friends and family know, and it was his decision that saved the lives of 6 people. Logan's parents knew Mary Lou, I just looked at you. Now stop it. Logan's parents knew his wishes and respected them. So Logan's mother, Bernadine, says, we have not met any of the recipients, but we would love to do that. And we would love to know that part of Logan has made their lives better. Get a hold of yourself. And that they're getting to do things that they probably weren't able to do for many years, or maybe ever. This sentiment has been repeated to me by organ donor families over the years. It's especially important to consider becoming an organ donor if you belong to an ethnic minority. Minorities are more likely than whites to have certain chronic conditions that affect the kidneys, heart, lung, pancreas, and liver. Certain blood types are more prevalent in ethnic minority populations. And because matching blood type is usually necessary for transplants, the need for minority donor organs is especially high. Here are the statistics. And this is a reality check on where we are in regards to organ donation. We know decisions are always made based on numbers. Right now, approximately 4,400 Canadians await a life-saving organ transplant. 1,555 of those are in Ontario. Each year, more than 250 Canadians pass away waiting for a transplant. One donor can save 8 lives through organ donation and provide tissue for up to 75 patients. Since 2003, 21,005 persons have received the gift of life. The Ontario Trillium Gift of Life Network initiated a challenge to cities to increase the number of donors registered in Ontario. So between April 1st, 2021 and March 31st of this year, their goal was 50,000 new registered donors. As of September 30th, 2021, they reached and surpassed their goal by 134%. 67,194 Ontario residents with new health cards had become new registered donors. They listed in order the number of new registrants by city compared to health card holders. In order to make these numbers relate closer to home, Brantford has 111,639 health card holders. 51,307 are registered donors. Less than 50% of our health card holder population. That, my friends, puts us in the spot of being 95th in the province of all the cities. In the words of Ricky Ricardo, we got some work to do, Lucy. So I'm challenging those of you who have not already registered to please reconsider. And if you're still having doubts, chat with your doctors or your clergy or me at any time, and I will try to change your mind. Linda has my contact information and I'm always available. I'll share any support or information that I can. I hope to get to know each of you as well as you now know me, and wish you the best day ever. And if it's not turning out to be your best day, then just turn around in a circle and change it. Now you know what you didn't know, and hopefully you will explore it further. Thank you.